What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is September the 13th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off with some data points, not a lot coming out today, so it is going to be more of a technical driven day, plus the market trying to digest a lot of the data that's come out. So you had CPI, PPI, initial jobless claims, you had a lot of data points, a lot of companies unveiling their earnings. And as a byproduct, you see a little bit more optimism, and I think that's associated to rate cuts. So fear and greed index is at 45, so back in the neutral category. And so most likely, given everything, it might continue to push to kind of the lower end here. So again, that means that people's appetite for risk is increasing, and that's kind of very apparent based on a lot of the stocks I'm going to be talking on. At the time of doing this video, somewhat mixed on the future. So NASDAQ is pulling down slightly. S&P and Dow are up slightly. But you can kind of see just based on a lot of the trending news, it's just rate cuts, rate cuts, rate cuts, rate cuts. That's all the market cares about. So it's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. At the time of doing this video, SOFI is kind of breaking out a little bit, up 0.94%, so it is breaking above that key pivot of that 750. Heavily shorted, of course. We already know that right now. So 18.6% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 194.72 million shares. Shorts have just doubled the hell down with SOFI for whatever reason. Makes no sense. But again, they went from roughly around 17.1% to where it is now at 18.6%. So definitely something to continue to monitor. Right now, though, with it at 750, so it is pulling down slightly. It is on a very key pivot. Some support and resistance points just to take note of. 745 is going to be the strong support, and then 761. Like I said in my video yesterday, it is fair to assume that SOFI will close at 749. Just that's the name of the game. Unfortunately, see a lot of manipulation, but we'll just have to wait until the market close to see exactly what does happen. Moving on, so I did bring this company up, I believe it was yesterday. So TNON Medical, ticker's TNON. So it did go up 43% yesterday. It is up a very impressive 209% this morning. And so this one's a weird one because in my video previously, when I talked on this pre-market, it had this. So it was given a notification by the NASDAQ saying that it didn't meet the 500,000 publicly held shares required, and that the staff has given us, so the company, up until October 24th, 2024 to basically rectify it. Funny thing is, like I just said, like, well, guess what, guys? The only way to rectify this is dilution. Just dilute shares. That way publicly held shares goes up. Like, you don't have to be a fucking rocket scientist for that. My apologies for the French, but lo and behold, that's basically the news that came out late last night, that they're doing 4.5 million public offering at the market. So yeah, honestly, it rectifies that. This is probably the first case that you'll ever see of dilution occurring, and the stock price just going up like a crazy MF. So again, this is a one-off. You see everything happen in the market. Sometimes it does make sense, and honestly, it doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. So tread cautiously as of right now. It's not heavily shorted on a side note, so 1.17%. I don't know if with it going up 200%, if that's going to incentivize shorts to really come back into this company or not. But again, just take note of that. And there's no point going over support and resistance points with this company. It's just too far gone, or I guess too high essentially. So moving on to the next one, SMX, Security Matters Public Limited Company. So it is up 28.57% because of, similar to the last company, dilution. So I don't know much context on about this, but that's the only thing that has come out after hours yesterday at 6:25, that they did close that 5.35 million private placement. So again, I think this is the backwards market, right? Sometimes you get dilution. There might be more context with this company and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Looking at this, it is heavily shorted, this company though, so 39.75% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 194.4 thousand overall shares being shorted. So this is kind of what the market likes to squeeze. heavily shorted stocks, low float. So it is what it is. So kind of interesting for that in that regard. With it right now at $3.10, it is trading between the S1 and pivot. So 265 will be a strong support, and then 383 is going to be the next strong resistance. In my opinion, again, based on the news, I don't see this pivot point being touched, but I have been wrong about this in the past. Sometimes the market doesn't seem to care about the news. It's just momentum plays, and obviously that goes hand in hand with this. So people's appetite for risk kind of throws logic out the window, if that makes sense. But moving on, ticker is EGIO. It is down 39.72%, and that is because of this. So because of various things, it looks like the NASDAQ wants them off. So as of, I think it had the date of the 18th, if I remember correctly. It's all blending together right now. Yeah, September 18th, 2024. So this is when they'll be fully suspended. So it looks like they were initially flagged because of Chapter 11 cases. But because of that, I guess the NASDAQ looked into them a little bit deeper, and it looks like they're breaking also 5250C1. So ultimately, they're going to be kind of kicked off. In reality, I would have anticipated for essentially this to be down a lot more, because getting kicked off, going down to OTC can be seen as more of a death sentence in some cases, but whatever, some people have different appetite for risk. 12.94% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 435.32 thousand shares. No doubtably, shorts are going to really pounce all over this news today, and ultimately, the 12% that are holding it are basically, they did win. So I'm not going to go over support and resistance points, because honestly, there's no point. Because like I said, with this news, that is a dagger for this company, and based on the market cap. And just actually, I normally don't do this on my pre-market videos, but just looking at everything right here, yeah, they burned through a hell of a lot of cash. Cash and cash equivalents, they have a good float or moat, I guess, if you want to call it that, of cash, so they could survive maybe a good 2 quarters, potentially going down to OTC. But yeah, this is I wouldn't touch that, in my opinion. And oddly, Palantir is getting a lot of volume, even though you're not seeing that much in price action, because I think it's the market's been really looking at Palantir, again, as I've stated in the past, really trying to justify these prices. And obviously you can't fight with a trend, and so right now the trend does want to keep hitting new all-time highs. So yesterday there was a new all-time high of $35.40. So in reality, I think the new 52-week high is going to get hit once again once the market does open, and it is not heavily shorted. So 3.08% of the free float is being shorted, but shorts have started to kind of get back in. So generally, over the last year, shorts been kind of returning some shares, but they're starting to slowly kind of get back in. So we'll just have to wait and see. Again, you can't really fight with a trend. So Palantir has been an absolute beast of a company. Right now, with it at $34.98, it is trading between this R1 and R2. So $33.16 is going to be the strong support, and then $35.96 is going to be the next strong resistance / target. So it's kind of just been trading within this range for this, basically this last week. So again, just kind of take note of all of that. In my opinion, I think it's going to get fairly close to this R2, but not touch it as of today, but most likely another new 52-week high will be hit. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. Do you own any of them? Is there any other stocks that's floating your boat? One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Roughly 2 weeks left. Sign up for a new account. They do give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is a kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.